في الأحلام وصوتك في منامي.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here tonight with La Pelvis Project, hosted by the Imperial Beauty Salon, and our guest tonight is Tiffany Madera. But more on that and more details about what we will be doing. Priscilla, would you like to do a land acknowledgement?
Yes. Hi, hola. My name is Priscilla, and this is my friend Lulu here. Um, as we are currently meeting through Zoom Universe, we would like to respectfully acknowledge the original and current caretakers of the lands of the indigenous peoples and all of their ancestors and descendants, past, present, and future. We are aware that the land we meet on was stolen land. We are grateful that we can continue to meet and share and create on this land, even virtually. We now invite you to name the land that you're on in the chat. If you do not know the name of the indigenous land you're on, no problem. We will share a link in the chat to help you name the land. I'm sharing it right now. Wonderful. And I am currently on Cahuilla, Tongva, Luiseño, and Serrano land. And I was born on Seminole, Taino, and Tecuesta lands. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Priscilla. And this is the first step in recovering so much of what has been lost and so much of what has been taken away from so many peoples and cultures. So thank you for doing that, this first step, and always thinking about what the next steps are. I would like to talk about La Pelvis Project with Lulu, Priscilla, of course, and Lulu is a series of online gatherings centered around the pelvis with diverse practitioners that range from dance, somatics, or somatic practice, and breathwork. And it is hosted by the Imperial Beauty Salon, which is an organism living, moving at the intersection of creativity and healing. And this program, La Pelvis Project, which is part of another program at the Interior Beauty Salon called Interior Beauty in Motion, of which Priscilla is part, has been running from January through June, or will be running from January through June 2022, on the last Thursday of each month. Come join us as we shake, educate, and shine together. And all sessions are open to the public. They're free or by donation. All donations go to La Pelvis Project. And this series is made possible with the support of the Gluck Fellows Program of the Arts, Imperial Beauty Salon, and the University of California, Riverside Dance Department. Thank you for being here again. And with that said, Priscilla, if you would like to introduce our guest, Tiffany Madera.
Thank you. Before I introduce Tiffany, I also want to acknowledge that this project, the La Pelvis project is part of my MFA research through the University of California, Riverside. And I officially graduate this weekend. Yay!
Wow.
Yes. So it's been really a gift to have been able to share this series through the Interior Beauty Salon, because it feels like a lab. And investigating the first month, we had breath work with Jessica Garrett and La Pelvis. The second one, we had somatica and twerk dancing with Justin Morris. The third, we had somatics with Alphonse Graber. And then today, I am so honored and so excited to have Tiffany Madera with Baladi technique. And so with that, I'm gonna introduce Tiffany. I met Tiffany in Miami a very long time ago. I'm trying to think exactly like how long we've known each other. But I know that Lulu and I we saw Tiffany and we were like, oh, wait. Aquí hay algo. I have to keep meeting this. Who is this? What are they offering? Like, I need to keep sharing and learning. I was just like, goddess, need to learn more. And so when I was thinking about guests to invite, I immediately thought of Tiffany. I'm such a fan of Tiffany's work. I love this project that Tiffany will be talking about Havana Hawaii. It always feels really rooted to where my body and where La Pelvis and where Lulu and I want to travel to. So thank you, Tiffany, so much for being here. It's really an honor to share this time with you.
Thank you for having me, and it's so wonderful to see these faces on my screen. So I'm really looking forward to this time together. It's going to be lovely.
Yay. So I'm gonna share, Nicolas, if you can please share the intro video, please.
Yes, if you can free the screen so I can share from here. And we will be watching a trailer from Tiffany Madera's work.
In 2003, I went to Cuba for an artist delegation. During that visit, a musician introduced me to a group of young women from the University of Havana that were interested in learning Middle Eastern dance.
El cubano es muy de hacia afuera y esta danza es más de fuerza interna, más de otro tipo de expresión.
I arranged to return to Cuba a couple months later and facilitate a workshop. I thought it would be just one workshop, but it became an entire karmic, cosmic project. We created the professional dance troupe called Aisha Al Hanan, which was the very first group to perform Middle Eastern dance and cultural dances in places around Cuba.
We left Cuba to come to this country and raise our children under the freedom of the United States, under the human rights. There's no human rights in Cuba, so what is the point of going there?
I went to Cuba to find the pieces that were disembodied and to bring them into wholeness.
Desde hace 2 años que comenzamos una escuela, decidimos abrir una escuela acá en Cuba. Serán las futuras Aisha Al Hanan, quizás cuando ya nosotros pues no estemos, ¿no? Ella será nuestra sucesora.
So I'm really excited about this reconnection as women and dancers and artists, and really as friends who went on this journey together and created this project together.
Thank you, Nicolas. So I'm going to close out the chat. Can everyone hear me? Yes. Okay, so thank you, Nicolas. Thank you, Priscilla, for inviting me, and thank you, Lulu, because that beautiful pelvis is just very inspiring, and hopefully we'll have this intimate time together through the lens and the metaphor and the power of that beautiful Lulu, that pelvis. So first, I want to ask, how many of you have studied Raksharki, Baladi, belly dance? Okay. So we know that the word belly dance, right, is a misnomer. It is an alliteration that many believe in the history of belly dance was an alliteration from Baladi, Baladi dance. And Baladi means country, countryside, country style, country person. And you'll find many uses of the word baladi throughout North Africa and the Middle East. Like there's baladi menu at a restaurant, or baladi bread, and there's baladi music, and there's the baladi rhythm, and the baladi people, right? And so one of the reasons why I wanted to start with the trailer is to do some placemaking, right? So as we do the land acknowledgement, I am meeting with you from Miami. I was just sharing with Nicolas and Priscilla, there's a tropical storm in our waters. And, you know, I'm speaking from the land of the Tequesta, the Seminole, the Miccosukee, the Siboney, the Taino. And I'm a Cuban American, right? So there's a whole transnational geopolitical framework that comes into the placemaking, talking about an Egyptian North African dance, Baladi, through all of these lenses coming out of Miami Beach. So I wanted to have a moment to talk about this placemaking, so you know, we can honor the country and the people of origin, the Baladi people from the lands of origin, where these movements come from. And so share with me a little bit some of your experience watching this dance. What strikes you? So Jackie practices and studies. So what brought you to the dance?
Well, I studied many years ago, and what brought me to the dance was that I had been trained in ballet and theatrical dance, and then my life fell apart. My body could no longer sustain that kind of dance, so I needed to find something that I could do in the body that I had. And it was just by accident that I found belly dance or oriental dance, and I found joy. I was caregiving for my mom who was in Alzheimer's, and it kept me going for 11 years through that journey.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Jackie. So Baladi dance, the term comes to the United States through the Chicago World Fair in 1893, and the producer, his name is Sol Bloom, and he was promoting the show, and he had these North African Gawazi, not Baladi, but Gawazi dancers, and he was playing on the words Baladi and Danse du Ventre in French from this colonial heritage. And then lore has it that he coined the term belly dance. So we enter into this space already with a post-colonial approach to looking at, you know, how a male coined a term that really is about mapping movements of many cultures, many geographies, many people, and women's bodies, right? So this is part of the lens that we want to look at the dance, and then how it comes back to America in the 60s, in the 70s, during a cultural revolution, during the geopolitical changes that are happening in the Middle East, and then meeting America in the women's liberation movement. So that is how belly dance comes into New York, Boston, certainly Detroit, and different ethnic enclaves, but also meets American history with the women's liberation movement, and giving American women this healing, liberating, joyful space through the pelvis. Okay, so this pelvis, which, you know, historically was corseted and held tight through different social norms, we now have this African diasporic Middle Eastern dance, indigenous dance to many lands, many borders, many cultures, now have a transnational geopolitical framework coming into American history that now allows American women to experience this culture, which represents for us freedom, joy, liberation. And so I think Jackie speaks to that, that just from a physiological, somatic movement expression, this movement concentrated in the pelvis and outward has all of these repercussions for joy, for freedom, for beauty, right? So it's just a beautiful dance that has many meanings. And so we want to just kind of play with some of these meanings here, because this type of cultural artistic space that interrogates these lenses are really important to have this discussion. So we're going to get in the body, we're going to move through embodiment, but I really wanted us to have some placemaking, have some transnational and intersectional approaches to how we think about Baladi. So in America, around the world, we use the term belly dance because it's the term that the world agrees that we understand what the dance is, right? So it's really practitioners that might call it Baladi or Raksharki, which means dance of the East. And then there's all these kind of offshoots that happen specifically in America with tribal dance and other creative outputs that came from these points of origin. So before we move into the next area, any quick questions or any questions that might guide us? Okay. So people think that the dance comes from the belly, but really it's hips and thighs, right? So we're gonna start with a warm-up, and I'm probably gonna go maybe 2 full songs. And is everybody ready to stand up and dance? Yeah, we're gonna start with shimmies and then contractions. So I want you to think about your pelvis and this muscle group and just going inside the body. So I'll guide you through it. And then we're gonna talk about Baladi, right? Baladi as a style, as an approach. So it's an aesthetic, but it's also an approach. So Priscilla, I want to make sure that I do the music properly. So let me...
Okay, so share share screen on the bottom, and then share audio and optimize.
Then go to advanced.
And then computer audio, and then share. Yes.
Okay, let's see.
Muy bien.
Let's see, and then, all right. I don't hear it. Do you hear it?
Yeah, it could go a little bit louder if you wanted to.
We hear it, yes.
Do you hear it? Okay.
Maybe louder if you can. That's great.
Good. That's it. Shake it out. Good. Exhale big. Big exhale. Big exhale. Good. So now you're going to plie. You're going to give me an accent side. So the shoulders don't move. The hip accents outside. And your feet are flat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Let me see. Good. Good. Very good. Great. So you should start feeling a little warm. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Just keep going. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. And plie. Bounce. Feel the legs warming up. And go back to the shimmy. Forward and back on the knees. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Plie. 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 Good. Now really feel your shoulders heavy. Plie. Plie. Yes. Plie. Good. Now, fly. Inhale, exhale. Pull up. Up. Down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Shake the hands. Good. Get out your feet. Down the trash. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now your chest. So imagine we have a bikini bandeau top, and we're gonna lift it. Nicolas, can you spotlight me so I can see myself bigger? So I want you to.
You have to go to speaker. Sorry, Tiffany, go to the top of the screen, view speaker.
Oh, duh. Okay.
It's a
Wonderful.
Okay. Thank you. So I want to see the lift and the drop. Lift and 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 drop. Okay, so your shoulder blades. You're not relaxing. small movement. Good. Yeah, it's small. It's a small movement. Please. It's a small movement. Beautiful. 2, 3, 4. Now, pelvic drop. Down. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good. So now look forward and just give me a shimmy. So like the placemaking that we did with the history and the context of the dance, this is placemaking in the body, okay? So this is placemaking from a somatic and body perspective, coming into the core, into the pelvis. So back to the shimmy with the releve. Shimmy up, 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 up. tension out of the tension in the body. Arch back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes. And lift. 1, 5, 6, 7, 8. And circle. Warming up the hips. Right. 3, 4, and other direction. 2, 3, 4. Good. And okay, shake it out. All right. Very good. How's everyone feeling? I know you're muted.
Warm.
Good. Good.
Delicious.
Good. I like it. So we're going to bring down the intensity, and I want you to follow me in some soft movements. Middle finger and thumb.
أنا شفتك في سماء وحسيتك في الهواء حبك زي النبيذ بيسكرني وقربك زي النار بيحيرني في كل خطوة بشوف جمالك في كل غنوة بسمع صوتك وكلامك معاك أنا حاسة إني بعيد فوق العالم كله معاك أنا حاسة إني معاك في أجمل مكان في العالم كله معاك أنا حاسة إني بعيد فوق العالم كله معاك أنا حاسة إني معاك في أجمل مكان في العالم كله أنا شفتك في سماء وحسيتك في الهواء حبيبي يا جميل يا نصيبي طبيبي صوتك في منامي صورتك في خيالي حبك زي النبيذ بيسكرني وقربك زي النار بيحيرني في كل خطوة بشوف جمالك في كل غنوة بسمع صوتك وكلامك معك. أنا حاسة إني بعيد فوق العالم كله معك. أنا حاسة إني معك في أجمل مكان في العالم كله معك. أنا حاسة إني بعيد فوق العالم كله معك.
Good. Very nice. Very nice. Yes. Other direction.
أنا شفتك في السماء.
Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful.
وحسيتك في الهواء. دايما في نهاري. أنا شفتك في السماء وحسيتك في الهواء. حبك زي النبيل بيسكرني وقربك زي النار بيحيرني. وشك في الأحلام وصوتك في منامي. وشك في الأحلام وصوتك في منامي.
Good. Jocelyn, that looks great. Barbara, that looks great. Michelle, Jackie, Megan. I can't see Maddie. Interior beauty. Beautiful. Undulation. Keep it going. Good. Forward. Everyone's doing it. You got it. So you can use your heel to push off. Keep going. Don't stop. Don't stop. Okay, good. Shake it out. Step, 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 step. 1, 4, walk back. 1, 2, 3, 4, walk back. 1, 2, 3, 4, walk back. 1, 2, 3, 4, very fast. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1,
أنا شفتك في السماء وحسيتك في الهواء. حبك زي النبيل بيسكرني وقربك زي النار بيحيرني. في كل خطوة بشوف جمالك. في كل غنوة بسمع صوتك وكلامك معك. أنا حاسة إني بعيد فوق العالم كله معك. أنا حاسة إني معك في أجمل مكان في العالم كله معك. أنا حاسة إني بعيد فوق العالم كله حاسة إني معاك في أجمل مكان في العالم كله. أنا شفتك في سما وحسيتك في الهواء، حبيبي يا جميل يا نصيبي وطبيبي، صوتك في منامي، صورتك في خيالي، حبك زي اللي بيسكرني، وقربك زي النار بيحيرني، في كل خطوة بشوف جمالك، في كل غنوة أسمع صوتك وكلامك، معاك أنا حاسة إني بعيد فوق العالم كله، معاك أنا حاسة إني معاك في أجمل مكان في العالم كله، معاك أنا حاسة إني بعيد فوق العالم كله، معاك. أنا شفتك في السماء وحسيتك في الهواء، دايما في نهاري، أنا شفتك في السماء وحسيتك في الهواء، حبك زي النبي بيسكرني، وقربك زي النار بيحيرني، وشك في الأحلام وصوتك في منامي، وشك في الأحلام وصوتك في منامي. Oh, Mark.
All right, how are we feeling? I think we're ready to talk about Baladi and do some Baladi technique. Okay, so what we did was a warm-up. We did Baladi technique in the movement vocabulary that we were doing. And Baladi, as I mentioned, it means country, countryside, country style, country person. It's a rhythm. Doom, doom, teki, tek, doom, teki, tek is a rhythm with many variations. But what I would like us to think about is Baladi as a lens, Baladi as a frame of mind, Baladi as a as a perspective, okay? So we started off with the trailer of Havana Habibi and the work that I've collaborated with in Cuba with Cuban women. And so this is the country of my ancestors, my parents. I was born in America of Cuban parents, family. And, you know, the way it all ties together is we want to have a transnational, intersectional approach to this North African dance, right? And so there's many historical, geographical, geopolitical origins, but we're dancing someone else's dance, right? So how do we honor someone else's dance while being a part of it and adding to it? So as a Caribbean person, as a Caribbean scholar, the Caribbean is a nexus, right? It's a nexus of many cultures, of many languages, you know, everything coming together and then forming something new, right? And so that's part of my approach to the work, to the dance, and to my arts practice. So Havana Habibi is part of a conglomerate of projects that implements Baladi dance, not just as an art genre, but really a collaborative language, okay? So I'm gonna play a song, and I'd like you to get up and just walk and see what the song, what the movement takes you. Because Baladi is an aesthetic approach to these movements, okay? So it's an aesthetic style, and it's not something that you will learn in one day or 1 year, but it's a way to approach movement that is very relaxed, that is very conversational. So when we talk about country style, homeland, folklore, so there's a lot of debate in the industry. Is, you know, is belly dance, is it folklore, is it high art, is it folklore? And these are the questions, right? And so these are the eternal questions that have many layers to them, including you know, Europeanizing. And there's a whole history to how Baladi dance came to the stage in Egypt that had to do with the National Folklore Company, the Reda Troupe, and why he was commissioned. You know, so Mahmoud Reda, who is an eminence in the dance form, he passed on not too long ago. He was commissioned and made Minister of Culture by the government to study the folkloric dances of Egypt, but elongate them and stylize them for the stage, right? So we take something that is indigenous, rural, of the people, barefoot, and then we create a stylized, aestheticized version, and then that version gets exported to the rest of the world. So this is part of the meaning of the dance and the opportunity that the dance gives us to think really deeply about these political questions. And that's why I love Baladi, because I feel that Baladi is extremely political. So I'm going to play the song, and I'm going to get up and I'm going to invite you to move, and then I'm going to walk you through some aesthetics of the Baladi, and then we can discuss it afterwards. So this is Fatma Serhan, who is considered queen of Baladi. So this CD is actually called The Queen of the Baladi. interesting. I want to hear. I want to hear from you. We're going to get back to the music. What you heard in the music. What stood out? Barbara, what stood out to you with this song? So yeah, you can unmute.
I felt like there was some like traveling. It really made me feel like going somewhere, like trying to like on a journey, you know, traveling and exploring.
Yeah, yeah. I feel that. Jocelyn, how about you? What did the music evoke in you? What came to your mind?
It's like I felt urgency, but also the sense of grounding and being calm within the music.
Great. Yeah. The way they work with speed and time. So I remember my life changed after the first time I went to Egypt to study dance. My life changed. I think I stopped wearing a watch for 10 years. I'm like, time doesn't matter. You know, there's no such thing. There's just Baladi. That's all that matters. Megan, what did you feel? What did you hear?
It was like an incessant beat, but it didn't feel like it was taking over. It just felt like it was coming up, you know, like it was of something that I couldn't help but move, you know?
So you'll notice, and I'm going to play it again. So there's a piece, dun 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 dun. So it's going to repeat and it's going to embellish. So we always want to think of Baladi dance and this dance like calligraphy, the beautiful curves, the improvisation. So the magic of this dance is improvisational. It's conversational and improvisational. So that's why, you know, I always had this joke when I started teaching that it looks easy, but it's not, because you should kind of look like you're not doing that much, but really, as you learn the technique and anchor the technique, you'll see you're actually doing quite a bit, and a lot of the work that you're doing is what you're holding back. So in Arabic music, the sukun is like the invisible note. It's the space between the notes. It's the holding, it's the withholding, it's the waiting. And that is the power and the magic of Baladi. And that's why Baladi dancers, I think, are just absolutely stunning, because what they embody, what they hold, what they withhold from the audience, the way they travel inside the music and in time is really, really masterful. So let's try this again and play with this sense of time and withholding and walking in power. That's what I want to see. Beautiful. Everyone, please give yourselves a round of applause. So that was really, really beautiful. I saw some very beautiful movement, and I saw the Baladi approach, which is something that I really look for and something I really love. So remember, I teach workshops on the Baladi woman, and Baladi is the theme that that I work with in different ways. I have a retreat, an intensive workshop that I travel around the world giving, which I can do in your city, called Dancing My Mother's Body. There's some information on my website. And then we use this technique plus some other beautiful processes in that project. And then that's a multidisciplinary, multi-year project, Dancing My Mother's Body. So with that, we have a couple of minutes, and I would love to speak with y'all and hear some of your questions about Baladi, about belly dance. If you have any questions about Havana Habibi, I want to thank Priscilla and Nicolas for inviting me to this really beautiful dialogue. And Lulu, this beautiful dialogue of the body and the pelvis. So I want to ask your pelvis. Yes, Barbara.
Okay. Yeah, I'm wondering if you could talk about symmetry, in other words, and how that might play in the dance. I guess just personally, I was just very aware of how the different sides of my body seem to be dancing different ways.
Yeah, beautiful question, incredible question, because symmetry in Western art is considered the topography of beauty, right? So symmetry in the face, in visual arts, and so symmetry is this way that our brain has been trained to believe is beautiful in Western aesthetics. This dance is not a European aesthetic. It's based in improvisation. However, in the training, and I did mention in the technique, the way Mahmoud Reda brought the dance to the stage, and then that stage dancing then became what was exported into the technique that we learn around the world. Symmetry is a part of that, especially in choreography, right? So choreography, the cornerstone of a lot of choreographic success, and different art forms, and Priscilla could speak more about other art forms, but symmetry in choreography is like a necessary structure. In improvisation, it's less important. However, as you master this art form, your body will create symmetry in the movement. Okay. However, it doesn't have to be the perfect symmetry that we look for through a Western lens. And then the body, of course, is not symmetrical. You know, our eye, like our breasts, our eyes, it's all different. And part of what I find extremely beautiful is how this dance awakens our body and awakens our connection to our body and how to listen to our body, right? And so for me personally, like, I have sciatica in one hip, so one side of my hips is very, very tight. The other is maybe not so tight, and I have to go to a chiropractor, and they actually have to release and move my pelvis. Like, I remember once they actually like took their hands and like moved my pelvis. It was very interesting from a Lulu perspective. So symmetry is, I think, a way to think about beauty and think about our bodies. And with Baladi, I want you to trouble the lens of beauty. I want you to trouble the lens of Western aesthetics and understand that the asymmetry of our bodies is 100% human and normal. And that is the beauty that we're going to create from.
Thank you. What a beautiful answer. I love it. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. So let me hear from our other dancers. Any questions about Baladi, Priscilla? Was that you?
I have lots of things to share, but I think I want to give space. I want to give space to other folks, and then if anything, I can come back. If anybody else has any questions or thoughts that I want to reflect on.
Tiffany, I would like to ask briefly about gender. As a cisgender male person who happens to be partly from the Middle East and part Lebanese, and also from the Caribbean, I'm wondering about entering some of these dances. And I don't know if you have anything to say about it, and also about, I think you spoke about it so beautifully, maybe using other words. I'm thinking also about appreciation versus appropriation. How do I enter these dances? I don't even speak Arabic. I wish I could.
Yeah.
I was not taught. How do I enter these dances with respect, with love, not knowing even the wording, not knowing the language, and with appreciation instead of appropriating them?
Thank you. These are really, really big questions, both gender and appropriation. So part of what I learned in working with in Cuba is that because none of the work that was being done by the Cuban dancers was going to create an economic output, right? So there wasn't an economic exchange with their dancing. Then appropriation then gets complicated because appropriation often is filtered through a capitalistic way of taking something that belongs to other people and then making it your own thing and monetizing, right? So in the dance form, in the belly dance field, there are really, really big questions about appropriation because it really is a dance from another place. And I'm speaking as an American, a Cuban American, a Caribbean American. So I think respect has to study from dancers of origin. So many people call them source dancers, so the Arab North African dancers. So that's really important. I think traveling to those countries, if you can, is important because you're gonna really change your perspective and understanding that you're a guest. You're a guest in this cultural space, right? So I think part of the danger of appropriation is taking on a sense of ownership. And, you know, in the belly dance genre, there are some offshoots of this Baladi, folklore, raksharki that got patented and got labeled and resold. And it changed from its original form. And then so that created really big, important questions about appropriation and about violence, cultural violence. And so as dancers, as artists, as people that read books and go to museums and understand that art is for the people, and art changes, right? So art changes when it lands, and then it's a living, breathing monument dance. But it's that respect. I believe it's the respect of the people and cultures of origin, and not claiming ownership, and not, and me personally, in my artistic practice, like the nonprofit cultural art space, like the Interior Beauty Salon and La Pelvis Project, this is the space where I feel the best, because I feel that I'm adding to the literature, and I'm adding to the conversation where these really important questions can be asked. And in terms of gender, historically, when you learn the dance, right, you learn that Baladi, Raksharki is a women's dance, an intergenerational women's dance that women dance together in intimate spaces, grandmothers, aunts, little children, and it's a gendered space. And it's a private space, And there are many men's dances that mostly fall under folklore, fighting dances, very similar to things that you would see in Brazil and capoeira, that have a martial arts feeling that then gets aestheticized into movement. And again, this is a social dance, right? So this is social dances of the people, Baladi. So you'll see men doing Baladi movements at parties, and it's a sense of mimicry. You see it as a sense of mimicry. You see it as a sense of celebration. But the way I was taught is often that, you know, there's women's dances, there's men's dances, and then there's theatrical mimicry. And then now, because there's more space in the world for gender expression, we see many male belly dancers, and you know, there hasn't been a lot of writing and research about the gender performance of male belly dancers. So I've seen a lot of male belly dance that to me is very classic queer performance. There's drag, there's gender non-binary dancers that perform with costuming that is non-binary. So now in the commercial landscape of what is the belly dance industry, so there's an industrial complex of belly dance, which are high stakes festivals around the world. There's a lot of male representation as male belly dancers that make their living mostly teaching women belly dancers. So the question of gender is still very much at play, because it was always represented, and again, these are cultures from the Islamic world, not necessarily everyone, you know, being Muslim or not. So in the cultures of origin, gender is looked upon more specifically male, female, because the genders are often very separate, right? So the dances happen in separate gendered spaces and within families. So the question of gender is extremely interesting. It's very rich, and I think there's more academic scholarship that I hope will be studied and shared so that we can look at gender in this art form. But historically, classically, Baladi, in the way that we talked about it today, is a very cisgender female improvisation, female presenting improvisational form that is also danced by men and gender non-binary persons. So we have 2 more minutes. Any other questions?
Jackie?
Mine isn't a question, mine is a gratitude. Thank you, Tiffany and Priscilla and my friend Nicolas. My body hasn't moved like that in a long time. It really moves me, moves my heart besides my body. I'm feeling a lot of my joints have aged faster than I knew they had. So I just want to show my gratitude for helping me go back and feel it from the inside for a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. I definitely reciprocate that gratitude for all of you being here, and for my friend Priscilla, friend and arts colleague, and now I know Nicolas. The Interior Beauty Salon, because it's not just inner beauty, it's interior beauty. And me as a Cubanita from Miami grew up in the peluqueria, the beauty salon. So the beauty salon is very much a part of my psyche and what that means, right? Like, why do we go there? So the Interior Beauty Salon means a lot to me. And again, the way I'd love for us to remember Baladi and the Baladi woman as this very interior, powerful space. The Baladi woman takes up space, a lot of space, and takes her time. Like, that's why I played that song, because it is so slow, and to perform it, you have to take up space and time, and you have to trouble it all. You have to trouble beauty, you have to trouble capitalism, you have to trouble patriarchy, you have to trouble the colonialism, and you have to take up the space. And so I'm so thankful for the opportunity to share these ideas with you. And I know that Nicolas put my website in the chat, hananarts.org. We are a nonprofit organization. We are a transnational intersectional feminist organization, woman and all woman board. And so we do these cultural projects around the world. We have workshops and films, and we commission projects of other dancers, and we curate art exhibits, and really we have these important dialogues. So please join my newsletter so we can stay in touch, and hopefully we'll see each other again in this beautiful world of dance and becoming. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Tiffany, Priscilla. Priscilla, would you like to close the space? And thank you on behalf of the Interior Beauty Salon, the Pelvis Project, Hanan Arts. And it's really exciting to see how all these places are coinciding online and in person too. This is very special. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Muchas gracias. Thank you all so much for coming. Enjoy. Thank you so much. Adios.